All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this one because President Trump is extremely pissed off. We are so sick of stuff like this happening. If a lot of you know that yesterday, a freaking idiot, a maniac, shot two National Guard troops, and we just found out today that the young lady that got shot didn't make it, and she passed away. So prayers go out to her. Prayers go out to her family. And they said the other guy that got shot is still trying to fight for his life. We haven't got an update on that right there yet. But I mean, stuff like this just has to stop, man. And we just did a video. If y'all think about this, the 6 seditious Democrats who was trying to tell our U.S. troops to disobey President Trump's order, and then something like this happened like days later after those Democrats did that. And not only that, they own side. Stephen A. Smith even went off on them for making that video. And then you got MSDNC over there trying to blame President Trump for what happened to the two National Guard troops that got shot. Like, these people are freaking sick, man. This is what they do. And like I said, we just made this video exposing these lying Democrats. I'm like, why would you make a video, especially Mark Kelly? Why would you make a video telling the U.S. troops to disobey President Trump's orders, and then days later, a freaking maniac go shoot two National Guard troops for no reason? So we definitely about to dive straight into this. Please hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. And shout out to everybody who always watches the entire video. I appreciate all of you that does it. It definitely helps get the video out there. But like I said at the same time, please put prayers for her down below in the comment section. I think her name was Sarah that passed. And it's just heartbreaking, man. It really is. Let's go ahead and dive straight into this, y'all. So y'all can see right here by Nick Sorter, like, you can tell how angry President Trump was about this. It's a new President Trump seen on his way to address the nation tonight after a terrorist shot National Guard troops in D.C. 47 looks angry, and rightfully so. He knows what he knows what needs to happen next. They must go back. And you can see, if you see like this image of President Trump, he is extremely pissed off, and all of us is. Because stuff like this shouldn't even freaking happen. Stuff like this shouldn't even happen. Then you got Democrats who's causing this. It still now want to blame it on President Trump. I mean, you got Nicole Wallace and that dumb Al Sharpton. Like, they are stupid, man. Like, they just say some of the dumbest stuff, man. And here we go. Here's a breaking. President Trump announces that every Afghan let in under Biden would now have their status re-examined. Let's check out what President Trump said.
We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them. America will never bend and never yield in the face of terror. And at the same time, we will not be deterred from the mission these service members were so nobly fulfilling. That is why tonight I can announce that I have directed the Department of War to mobilize an additional 500 troops to help protect our capital city.
Wow. And President Trump didn't stop right there. He had another message, and he said, breaking, President Trump says the animal who shot our National Guard was flown in from hellhole Afghanistan by Joe Biden. And that's what I've said before. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris let all of these people in.
It's the steepest possible price. I can report tonight that based on the best available information, the Department of Homeland Security is confident that the suspect in custody is a foreigner who entered our country from Afghanistan, a hellhole on earth. He was flown in by the Biden administration in September 2021 on those infamous flights that everybody was talking about. Nobody knew who was coming in. Nobody knew anything about it. His status was extended under legislation signed by President Biden. A disastrous president, the worst in the history of our country. This attack underscores.
And I agree 100%. He's definitely the worst. So by Eric Daughter, the president going to say that breaking the Trump administration will seek to execute Afghan national, I think his name is Romanula Lockenwall, after he took out Sarah Beckstrom. So that's the young lady name, because at first they said she was, she was fighting, and then her dad came out and said that she wasn't going to make it, and then they finally put out pretty much a message saying that she didn't make it and she passed. So please put rest in peace, Sarah, down below in the comment section, man. This is just sad. It's just absolutely sad, man. Then it said the AG Pam Bundy said, "Thank you to President Trump. The death penalty is back. Make it fast if this scum doesn't pass in the hospital tonight." Oh, God, man. Then say, holy crap, President Trump goes berserk on the fake news, because here now is President Trump pretty much just explained like why this is Joe Biden's fault, because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is the one that let this individual in along with other illegal aliens. And then you got the news. I'm pretty sure they from MSDNC or ABC or CBS. They the only one who gonna ask a stupid question like this and say, why are you blaming Joe Biden for the DC National Guard attack? And President Trump just goes berserk. Not only President Trump, but Judge Janine absolutely went off on the reporter too, and we'll get to that in a second. But check out what President Trump said.
Why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let him in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in, and they were unvetted, they were unchecked, there were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful. And if you look, you'll see there was a law passed. It makes it almost impossible not to let them in, not to certify them, so to speak, once they come in. And they came in, and they shouldn't have come in. And frankly, the whole thing was a mess. The whole Afghanistan situation was a mess. It should have never taken place. If we're going to go out, and we would have gone out because I had everybody ready to go. We were going to go out with strength and dignity and precision, and we would have left from Bagram, and we would have kept Bagram, by the way, because of its very close relationship to China and where they make their missiles. But when you let the people come in by the thousands and thousands and thousands, they made a terrible mistake.
And you can see how upset President Trump is, because it's like he already explained. You got this reporter talking about, why is you blaming Joe Biden for this? And he didn't explain this numerous of times. But this is what the fake news do. And this is the reason why President Trump is going off the way he is. It's the reason why. And then look at this by Gunther Eagleman. This is what MSDNC do. This is what they do all the time. Every time something happens, the first thing they say is, it's Donald Trump's fault. That's the first thing they run with. So this right here said that Nicole Wallace and Al Sharpton are suggesting that Trump caused the attack on our brave men of the National Guard. These people are sickening and don't deserve to have a platform to spew they bull.
This idea that they're all on the same side, right? I mean, people that follow a chain of command, and at any level in government, you are reporting to someone above you. To your point, it's the men and women of the military are following orders. I mean, that is the chain of command.
They're following orders. This was not a vote that they all voted and said the majority of us vote, therefore we have to go. They're following orders. And I also I'd show the concern that if this has been an ambush, we don't know where this is going. You've got guardsmen out there that's got to wonder, is there something that's going to follow this up? We don't know what we're talking about yet. Mm-hmm. Was this a sole gunman that ambushed somebody? Is there a plan? You don't know. That's why I think we ought to be focused. We ought to deal with the fact that these men or women, we don't know the gender, should not be in any way harmed as they were. Whether we agree with the deployment or not, I don't. And I think the president ought to focus on that on Thanksgiving Eve, as other guardsmen have to be concerned about their own safety, right, as well as their fellow guardsmen that are in a hospital fighting for their lives.
All right, we're going to sneak in another break when we come.
I'm telling you, boy, they are something else, man. It's like they just spew whatever they just want to spew. And like people like this shouldn't even have a platform to just constantly do this. Like how many times do President Trump have to sue these people, man? How many times do he have to sue ABC, CNN, CBS, ABC? How many times do he have to sue them for the crap that comes out of their mouth? It's like they can't wait for something to happen, but yet they won't never bring up the fact that Mark Kelly and, like I said, the 6 seditious Democrats who made a video a couple days prior to this right here happening, telling the troops to disobey President Trump's order, pretty much telling them don't listen to the president. Oh my God, man. So here we go right here. And like I said, Judge Jeanine she's even pissed off about all of this. Say just in a heartbreaking development, both National Guard members shot in D.C. were sworn in just 24 hours before the attack took place. And they said a young lady name is Sarah Beckstrom. The other young man name is Andrew Wolf. So let's check out what Judge Jeanine said.
Both Sarah and Andrew, I believe, were sworn in less than 24 hours before they were shot on the street in Washington.
Wow.
Expect granted asylum, and if so, when did that happen, under which administration, and did authorities miss any signs, either in the asylum process or even back when he reportedly worked for the CIA? If you could talk about that.
Well, you miss all the signs when you do absolutely zero vetting. And that's exactly what happened in this case. When you, in the prior administration, made the decision to allow thousands of people into this country without doing a single piece of background checking or vetting, that's how you miss every single sign. And Secretary Kristi Noem has put out details specifically related to your other questions, so I'll let that speak for themselves.
And so this is where Judge Jeanine, goes off on this report and say, holy crap, Jeanine Pirro just unleashed on a reporter blaming the shooting on President Trump. The same thing we're over there with MSDNC doing is trying to blame President Trump. This is what they do. So let's check out what Judge Jeanine said.
Set with the president believing that the National Guard members should not even have been there if it were not for the executive order.
Well, I don't even want to talk about whether they should have been there. We ought to kiss the ground and thank God that the president said it's time to bring in more law enforcement to make sure that a city that had the 4th highest homicide rate in the country was that violence was quelled. I'm not even going to go there.
Woo.
That are appropriate right now are 3 counts of assault with intent to kill while armed, a violation of D.C. Code 22-401 and D.C. Code 22-4502. He will also be charged with possession of a firearm during a crime of violence. He faces 15 years under the assault with the intent to kill. We intend to continue monitoring what the charges will be, depending upon the well-being of the guardsmen. We are praying that they survive and that the highest charge will not have to be murder in the first degree. But make no mistake, if they do not, that will certainly be the charge, murder in the first degree.
Wow.
In the best possible way. We have been in constant contact with their families and have provided them with every resource needed during this difficult time. The 2 National Guards men that we're talking about are Sarah Beckstrom, who's 20 years old, and Andrew Wolf, who is 24 years old. They were uniformed members of the West Virginia National Guard, and they were in D.C. to keep D.C. safe, pursuant to President Trump's executive order to make D.C. safe and beautiful. They answered the call, they took the charge, they volunteered, they put their lives on the line for people they don't even know. And that, unfortunately, is becoming a reality more and more for the members of law enforcement.
Wow, man. Just absolutely mind-blowing. And for the Democrats to not even come out and say that they know that it's their fault for the stuff that they spew out of their mouth that leads to stuff like this happening. Now, they say that Pam Bundy confirms that President Trump is only tripling down on troop deployments after yesterday's violent ambush by an Afghan.
Bowser called me right away. I've talked to Mayor Bowser multiple times, and the men and women of Metro PD jumped in last night to have the backs of our Guard members who have always had their backs. And yes, President Trump is bringing in 500 more National Guard troops because we will not be taken down by this. We will not be threatened. We will not be intimidated as a country. And we will look out for the great men and women of law enforcement. And it's not only our Guard out there, as you know. It's DEA, it's FBI, it's ATF, it's U.S. Marshals running the whole show. It's working hand in hand with with Homeland Security NOMS, all of her HSI people. Scott Besson has Treasury officers out there even. And of course, Pete Hegseth has the lion's share with all those great men and women in the Guard. But we are working together, and we will not be deterred. President Trump will not be deterred. He gave us one mission: make America safe again. And that's what these men and women are doing. They are heroes. They are the best of the best. They are working so we can all go to church, so our kids can go to school, so we can celebrate Thanksgiving with our families. Yet this horrific tragedy happened right now, and these families are having Thanksgiving at the bedside of their children and their family members.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll say it. Senator Mark Kelly, you're a piece of actually all of you Democrats are, especially you ones that served in the military that have now painted a big bullseye on the backs of National Guard members, military members, federal agents, and police officers. We now have 2 dead National Guard members because of you and your rhetoric. Mark Kelly, you claim that the violence is coming because of Donald Trump's rhetoric, but yet the violence seems to be coming from your side. It's you, Mark Kelly, that said that Donald Trump was using the military against U.S. citizens when you know that's a bold-faced lie. You told military service members you don't have to abide by illegal orders. You did that for the low-information, leftist, violent, progressive Antifa member that supports your party to think that Donald Trump is giving illegal orders, but when all of you are asked what illegal orders specifically, none of you come up with any answers whatsoever. It's you guys that have said to go out and to disrupt and to get in the way of the officers and create chaos when they're trying to execute their warrants. It's Donald Trump and our military that are trying to clean up the streets from the millions of illegals that came into our country and the criminals, and the fact that we have drug cartels and gang members in every single state in the United States because of the failures of your party. It's you guys on the left claiming that our military service members are acting like Gestapo on behalf of a Nazi dictator authoritarian president, which is meant to create this type of chaos and havoc in our streets. We now have 2 dead members, and the blood is on you because you're supposed to be brothers and sisters in arms, and you should be on your knees groveling for forgiveness for what you just caused and your lies and your rhetoric. It's despicable.
Now, I want to turn the table just for a second. Now, this right here is what Stephen A. Smith just absolutely went off on Mark Kelly and the 6 Democrats that pretty much, made the video to tell the troops to disobey President Trump's orders. Pretty much saying, don't listen to the president. Now, this is Stephen A. Smith absolutely going off on them and Mark Kelly. So I want y'all to check this out.
Respectfully, Senator, what the hell are you doing? Looking into the camera and telling military men and women to ignore the commander-in-chief. How dare you? How dare you do that? That's right, I'm calling out. I never served in the military. That's true. I have family members who did. Some of my best friends have. Marines, Air Force, Navy, Army. I haven't heard one of them, not one of them, say that was okay. How dare you do that? Is it treason? No. Is it punishable by death? It shouldn't be. So the answer is no. But you know better, Senator Kelly. You know better. How dare you do that? What are you supposed to do? You're a ranking senator. You could go to the Senate. You could go to the House. You can draw up paperwork. You can try to start articles of impeachment if you think there's something illegal. I mean, damn, it ain't like y'all haven't done it before. You impeached the man twice. Where'd that get you? Got us behind back in the White House. Had you left him alone since 2020, maybe he wouldn't be back terrorizing the Democratic Party the way that he is. But you did it. You did it. And here you are again with this nonsense. How dare you do that? I'm not a military person, and I know better than that. You don't tell military men and women to ignore an order from the commander-in-chief. You don't do that. Is it going to amount to what Trump tried to embellish and indicate? No. But that don't make you right. How dare you do that? He's the commander-in-chief for the United States military. Period. You have no business doing that. None. And by the way, the biggest reason is because what was illegal? You didn't tell us what it was. What laws? Why did I bring up A Few Good Men with Tom Cruise and Kiefer Sutherland in that sequence and Kevin Bacon? Why did I bring it up? Because the mere thought of you even implying that a military officer is engaging in some type of salacious or illegal activity is trouble. In the military, not the court of laws for civilians, the military. Senator Mark Kelly knows that.
Oh, he knows
Trump
it. He definitely knows it.
Giving illegal orders. What are the illegal orders? How come you didn't tell us? Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? Why do you think the investigation is going on? Why do you think Trump is all over Pete Hegseth, over the Department of War and the FBI with Kash Patel, and folks are looking into and probing what's going on and how can they get to Mark Kelly because they know he did something wrong. You crossed the damn line. You are an elected official in the nation's capital. We have a constitution. You got a problem, you go through the necessary process. Whether it's Hakeem Jeffries in the House, whether it's Schumer in the Senate, or anybody else. That is the point that's the process you're supposed to go to. You don't go in front of the cameras and give military officer or military personnel a directive to ignore their commander-in-chief. And you've given no evidence what his illegal orders were. And if you try to sit up there and say, oh, it was just alluding to a future reference to future situations. Oh, so he's going to give you an illegal order in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, that flies over the airwaves of Sirius XM or one of these news networks or something like that. It does not apply in our military. You can't do that.
And he knows for a fact he can't do that. And that's the reason why Stephen A. Smith went off on Mark Kelly. And of course, like I always say, Stephen A. Smith, you know, he backtracks on a lot of things. He'll say some crazy stuff from time to time. He might say some things that's on point, but it, you know, is warranted that, you know, Mark Kelly should never did that. And they said he the one who orchestrated this whole thing, put this whole thing together to get the other Democrats, you know, in line to do that little 2-minute clip. Like I said, which was crazy. And not only this, the last thing I'd like to show y'all is that where he said that Stephen A. Smith pummels a leftist caller. So he had a caller that called in pretty much trying to defend what Mark Kelly, you know, was saying. So I want y'all to check this out real quick.
Eugene in Washington, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A. First off, I want to say I love your show. I often listen to you. I do happen to disagree with you today on a certain point, especially when it comes to our Democratic leaders that stood up and told the servicemen that they could disobey illegal orders. And the reason why is throughout history, even going back to Nazi Germany,
oh God,
those people that obeyed illegal orders, when they said, "Oh, I was just obeying orders,"
stop that! You stop!
This man just brung up Nazi Germany, bro. Are you freaking kidding me? So this is the effect right here that we be talking about. Is that when these sitting get in front of this camera, you will get people like this that's calling in right now that agrees with the crap that they say. That's what's the problem come in at. And even Stephen A. Smith didn't like that. This man just brought up Nazi Germany.
The servicemen that they could disobey illegal orders. And the reason why is throughout history, even going back to Nazi Germany, those people that obeyed illegal orders, when they said, "Oh, I was just obeying orders,"
stop that! You stop! No! You stop that BS right now. First of all, don't bring up Nazi Germany on this show when you're talking about American politics in the year 2025. We're not doing that to anybody on either side of the aisle. This is America. This ain't Nazi Germany. Stop it. That's number one. Number two, here's what I was saying. If you're going to quote me accurately. Identify the illegal orders you're talking about. You don't get to speak if you're a senator of the United States who served in the United States Navy as a combat pilot, and you're just going to throw out innuendo and assertions without factual evidence to back up your claim. That's why they're investigating it. Military officials are different. This is not civilian. This is not the civilian life. You can't just do that. That's what I'm saying. He knows better. Now, that doesn't mean he committed treason. It doesn't mean he should be thrown in jail. But what it does mean is that Senator Mark Kelly needs to watch his mouth. If you're going to accuse the President of the United States of giving illegal orders, you need to say what those orders are. You need to be specific. And you need to make sure that you understand that as a former military man, that regular court of law don't apply. It's the military.
And you're right, though, because like if you look at that video, they didn't never say, okay, what's the illegal order President Trump is giving? What is it? They never said any. They up there talking about, well, they're just for future reference because they was like alluding that President Trump is going to give an illegal order in the future. It's like, come on, man. That was like one of the dumbest things that they can do, man. And like I said, you get leftist callers calling in that agrees with the crap. They just go to show you that people just, you know, if they're a Democrat, they'll listen to what another Democrat say and run with it. Oh, I agree with what they said.
It's the military. You understand? Military justice. Code of military justice. This is what that is. You don't get to do that. That's what I said. Go ahead and speak.
Okay. What I was saying, though, those illegal orders could potentially be the Mediterranean bombings of those boats.
Did he say that? Did he say that?
No, he did not
That's
say
what
that.
I'm saying. He didn't say it. He didn't say it. You got to say it. You can't just blanketly go out there and accuse him and say, hey, you know what? Don't follow illegal orders. You can't imply that he did do it without saying what they were. And you can't imply that he's going to ask them to do it if you're a military person, according to what I've read. You can't do that. I could do that. Eugene, if you didn't serve in the military, you could do that. But because he served in the military, he cannot. They live by a different code. Because why? You can't have people on the battlefield questioning orders. Let me ask you a question. Eugene, are you still there? Are you still there, Eugene? You still there?
I absolutely am.
Let me ask you, Eugene. You think soldiers wanted to go over to Iraq? You think soldiers wanted to go over to Afghanistan years ago? You think soldiers want to go? No. I'm just saying. You think soldiers want to go to different parts of Africa and stuff like that? You think soldiers want to go to these places? Do you really think that? So just imagine for a second. So just imagine for a second if Eugene, you serving in the Marines, and the commander-in-chief gives an order. Okay, we don't like the stuff that's going on there right now. We need you to go. We need you to go over to Qatar. We need you to go over to Iraq. We need you to go over to Iran. And you went like this. Why? I don't know. I ain't trying to do that. What do you think gonna happen to you, Eugene?
Oh, you'd be court-martialed. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be court-martialed, but what I am saying is that there are some orders that, when provided, if they look or sound illegal, you have every right to disobey them.
And I'm saying to you, for a sitting senator to say it blanketly, without specificity, to point a finger at the commander-in-chief because of a potential order he may give, or an order he may have already given, without you being specific about what that illegal order was, is not allowed. Not in our system of military justice. That's what I've been told by every military officer I know. And the fact that they did that Senator Kelly did that, and they did the other senators and representatives did that in a video is wrong. Just as wrong as Trump is for sitting up there talking about treasonous, seditious, and is punishable by death. Far too excessive, irresponsible on the part of the president of the United States. No excuse for it whatsoever. No excuse. That's what I'm saying.
So there we go right there. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section. Of course, like I say, Stephen A. Smith, he'll go on this rant about, he'll say something that right, but of course he always got to bring it back to, let me just say Donald Trump was wrong to try to mix it in with what he's saying. But he definitely was telling the truth about Mark Kelly them about that they should never did that. But like I said, y'all get in the comment section and let me know what y'all think about all of this. I will keep y'all up to date as more information comes out, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.